they're looking.
Oh, what the f***?
At the ping.
I'm running. Wait,
We're running.
I'm gonna help. How does it look? Oh shit, you're smurfing.
Look at Aatrox.
No flash, Jarvan, no flash, Jarvan.
What the f even happened? I don't know what happened, but good job.
Oh, nice. I'll get him.
No. I cannot fight. Nice, big.
Look at Aatrox.
I think.
Holy f***.
Oh my god, GX, baby. Base fast, okay?
And welcome back to the LEC, as even GX doesn't know what they're doing, but they clearly won here today, guys. You were not here on day one, but I set the stage of GIANTX being either GenGix or GIANTXD. We're more on the GenGix side today, it feels.
I mean, what a stomp. I can't even believe what just happened. I mean, one thing is that, okay, maybe one player is having a really good game, but everyone on GX in this game was locked in. No one was really making mistakes towards the end. Yeah, maybe a bit where they got too excited. But at that point as well, the gold lead is already so big that there's no way you're actually losing that game. Bot lane, great. Mid lane, great. Odo having a great time, and Peach as well setting it up. I mean, everyone was just there on the ball.
Yeah, and my favorite part is they're playing what they like, right? They've got the Jackies on comfort, top lane on comfort. I know Odo wanted to play the Rek'Sai last week as well. They're not just playing the meta, they're playing what they know they're good at. And I feel like we always have these kind of identity crises with teams. It's not happening to GIANTX. They know what they want to play and they're playing it really well.
Yeah, but also the mistakes we're seeing here, right? Supa just straight Eing over the wall, and yeah, the rocket misses, but that just gives Patrik a chance to really show his kiting skills instead, navigating this team fight quite beautifully as well. But at this point, like, what do? This is a Jinx. You're already hyper-scaling, right? And then you already get these kills in the beginning and the early game. Like, there's no way back from that. The composition is so well orchestrated from GX, and then there's no way really to get back with the tools that MDK had available to them.
I mean, credits to GIANTX, honestly. They kept the ball running. They didn't drop the advantage that they built in the early game. But guys, on the side of Mad Lions, I'm going to be overly critical here maybe, but that is really not for what I expect from a team that made finals in their first split appearance, Eragon.
Yeah, and I have to say, I think Mad Lions Koi and Vitality are two best early game teams in the league. I really expected more out of it, and I also expected more out of the draft too in terms of the bite they had in the early game. But there was just nothing. They draft Elyoya Jarvan, and they just can't do anything to level 6, so there's nothing going on. And then they have so many issues mid-game where if they don't have a lead and then they run into those issues as well, they have nothing going for them.
I mean, it was terrible. It was straight up terrible from what you saw. Like, it's not what you're expecting. Like, MDK, as you said, Eragon, like, it's the team where when they make mistakes, okay, we expect it to happen in the mid-game. That's where you fall off the cliff as MDK. That's kind of been their issues they've been struggling with, but they never got to a point where the mid-game became relevant in this series. I mean, what do you even do, right? Like, the first gank that Elyoya tried to pull off where they went on the Nautilus and they just turned it around with Peach. If that mountain doesn't tell you the story of the game, I don't know what will.
I mean, yeah, we don't need more from this, honestly, and I think the casters said it pretty perfectly. You just need to reset when you're MDK right now. You go backstage, you keep your mental high, and you draft something different, and more than anything, you play differently, and you actually try and play this game. I
mean, I completely agree. Like, I expect that they'll probably move over to blue side as well, just to, like, okay, maybe having Elyoya on a champion like Rel, or forcing GX to ban it themselves, so that's a takeaway in general. They chose red side? They chose
red side, so they want to keep these opportunities, maybe to build some crazy picks, because for me, what made the success of Mad Lions when I think of them in Winter is the fact that they show up on the day. If they want to play something, if they feel like it, they do it, but they're creative. This was nothing like this here today.
Yeah, because I think, like, with the Jarvan, like, you still get the plan, right? It's Elyoya down towards bot lane, making a play to get Supa ahead, but one of the best champions they've been doing this with has been the Rel too, because there's just so much skirmishing power already from the early game. You find the play where Elyoya and Alvaro, they link up, they never got an opportunity to do that here. And while they are on red side, there's obviously loads of different tools. We've seen the Ivern as well from Elyoya. There's loads of stuff that can come out. But I just really thought that that Rel was a big problem for them.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, GIANTX banning Ivern to take away Rel and blind pick tanks, because we know that Mad Lions are very good at counterpicking tanks with Ivern. So that was the adaptation there. It's just a 1-2-3 for me. Mad Lions Koi are the team that attacks you early and moves around with Elyoya, Alvaro, etc. But they can't do that without a lead, and then they can't do that with the 1-2-3 of, I believe it was Zeri, Azir, Rakan. It's just so slow to play.
But that's the thing for me. Do you think Mad Lions Koi win this series by playing conventional League of Legends, or do they need to go back to what made their success in Winter and go for the crazy picks? I'm thinking of Mrywn here.
I mean, they still came out with an Aatrox as well, where it's like, okay, we haven't seen too many Aatroxes in Europe, and when we've seen them, they've not really worked. There's apparently, sadly, adds to that list as well, right? But I don't think that was the core problem. But I still think it's about them having the hyper-aggressive early game, getting the ball rolling, and if you can stabilize that early game already, then that sets you up for at least tackling the issues you've had. And I also don't want to be a game one Andy at all going into this. I still think MDK is a very scary team that you need to respect, and you can't get too cocky on the side of GX, because if you disrespect MDK, well, you're going to regret it.
I mean, for me, GX is still one of the most unreliable teams that we have here in playoffs. They can have the best games, but they can have the worst games as well. We'll see what they surface here in Game 2. But Eragon, when I think of Mad Lions Go, I think of a team who made finals, again, on their first appearance, who made it through the lower bracket run as well. Being 0-1 right now in this series, are you worried for them?
Yeah, in that lower bracket run, they improved so much, but it feels like come this season, those problems in the mid game, in generally, they've just resurfaced, as well as not having Mrywn being that reliable carry who can pull out loads of different pocket picks, because he just hasn't had as good as a split as in winter. So it just feels like there's not really an avenue that they can go to, and that their issues aren't fixable.
We'll see about that in just a few minutes as we're gonna gearing up for the draft. Coach, of course, giving advice to the players. I think they need advice, but we know that it's a team who are gonna keep being confident here on the Rift. I'm not worried about this. I'm just worried about the approach that they're gonna bring here coming into Game 2 as we're gearing up for picks and bans here. GB, do you think that GIANTX is gonna bring a new approach here coming into this Game 2, or do they have a solid enough base to keep on trusting the process they had in Game 1?
I mean, you don't change anything as MDK. Like, you can, but like, why fix it if it ain't broken, right? And I think for MDK, it is really just finding that avenue for a lane to play for, because even if you drafted this Jarvan, right, you lose the 2v2 in the bot lane because of the node into the Rakan still and the rail. So, I mean, I'm not worried at all. I think the adaptation is obviously on the side of MDK, though.
I hope they don't blind pick Azir again. I feel like Jackie's has so many answers into the Azir by now that he's super comfortable playing it. I highlighted in the Telestrator segment. Now Silas, Akali, Yone, there's so many different pairings that you can take into it. I really hope they pivot away from it.
And we know that Silas was like a comfort pick for Jackie's. I'm actually really, really happy to see him play it today. What do we think of the opening of the draft here when it comes to the banned champions? Opening on Renata?
Well, it still very much just looks like the same as well. It's not really once again, any need for GX to do anything different here. What I'm really interested to see if MDK is going to change the approach here with the Rel first ban here, so they just can't first pick it, or just a different pick into it, because it's been peach comfort. Like, Rel, Sejuani, how often have we seen this guy in this champion? It feels like it's been years already.
Yeah, so a little bit of an adaptation. Ivan's not banned this time. So if they first pick a tank as GIANTX, we could see the Ivan come out for Elyoya again, and typically what we see with these Ivan compositions is loads of squishies. Gone. Locked in for the side GIANTX.
Yeah, and for me, it's a champion that empowered Ignar to work with Peach really well when it comes to team fighting and creating space for his teammates.
Yeah, but I still think like you can easily still go for the Nautilus if you want to on the side of MDK here. That's a great trade-off. You're still happy about that. The only thing you're worried about if you blind pick it on 1-2 here is the fact that they could go 1 or 2-3 Xayah for Patrik, right? So you're probably waiting for that until third. Or, you know, just grabbing it straight up and just accepting the risk.
Yep.
Oh, never mind. That looked like it got locked in for a second.
Yeah, I imagine you take away the Nautilus, and if they don't lock it in, you can't lock the Nautilus in yourself, and there's no lockdown for the Zeri as well, so punishing Rakan. The Zeri, Rakan is the blind rather.
But also interesting, right? The adaptation for Elyoya from the Jarvan into this was the Sejuani instead, and it's not what really is going to give you a lot more of early pressure, specifically not towards the bot side, which has worked so well for MDK, right? This is usually a champion where we think, right, you're around the mid lane with some of your early ganks, but you're up towards the top side instead, so they're just going to handshake it. We have double tanks instead, and then it might be a preemptive Xayah here for the side of Patrik, just because he's expecting that Nautilus to come through on 3, and then you'll have a good matchup. But I see it's still available. There's still so many tools available for MDK where they don't have to go for support immediately, but if you don't, there's definitely not going to be as many good answers left.
Yeah, so if I'm the side of Mad Lions Koi, I'm definitely looking for bans that pair up well with the Maokai. Stuff like the Yone, I think, works really well with the Maokai, for Jackie's especially. Azir still on the table as a potential mid lane pick for either team, so if they do go for the Azir fourth pick, then you definitely want to ban away those, but they're not going to do that. And instead target away Odo's comfort picks in the Rumble, which in the Rex side, thank you.
Yeah.
Potentially the Rumble as well.
More top lane bans incoming here, I assume.
And I do really wonder who they want to save the last pick for, because usually you feel confident if Azir is up, you just say, hey, I'm fourth picking Azir. But into Jackie's, he's the kind of joker where you don't have that luxury. And when the Rek'Sai ban has already come out and Rumble in already one of the first 3, right? Like, they can just decide to pin down Odo if they want to, set Mrywn up for a blind pick instead, and make sure that Fresk is on comfort, giving him that last pick.
Yeah, Jace ban kind of indicates, these bans kind of indicate to me potential. Renekton, Sejuani as a potential. Twisted Fate is also pretty decent into it, so another
He's
takeaway
banned
as well. Kassante's still open too as potential blind for top laners here. So definitely what they're fishing for. I think Renekton's on the table.
Blinding Kazante, I know Odo's slamming that Gnar ASAP as well. Like, yeah. It's straight up coming. It's good comfort for him. So I'm really wondering, where are they going to put that last pick? Because who's really going to counter blind pick this from Mrywn's side or Fresk's side?
Of course.
No more Azir.
The
not
Madman
gonna.
in top lane.
Yeah, not going to open up themselves for potential counter picks. I wonder what we're going to see other side of GIANTX. They could do Silas, I believe, in the past. That was a decent matchup. But it's going to be the Jackie's Azir, not going for his patented melee mids.
Well, he's still not locked in yet. I mean, Silas used to be a thing into Ahri in the past, right?
Yeah.
If you wanted to run it back. There's Seju, there's Nautilus, there's Zeri. There's still loads of good options here, but buying space with the team comp you already have, like, you can see what they're trying to create here of GIANTX. It's a very straightforward front to back. And Odo with the blind pick available, I mean, he can still go for the Renekton. Jay's already out of the picture, right? You can still go for the Kazante. So many options available where Odo's just going to be chilling on the top side.
Yeah, I've never really been a big fan of this kind of duo. There's so much Merc Treads value now versus that Ahri, Sejuani, Nautilus. I feel like the front to back of GIANTX is so much stronger because of the damage share. And I imagine you go an AD top laner here and you're really happy, whatever AD top he wants to blind. Renekton is going to be the one.
Then on the side of Mrywn, do we have something, a little Mrywn special coming into it, or is it just going to be something normal, like an
Aatrox?
Or Aatrox as well,
potential.
could go be run back, if they're feeling it actually. It's a bit difficult fighting into both Maokai and DSC as well with the knockback, but...
Yeah, it's going to have to be an AD champion for sure. I don't think it's going to be like anything like Gnar. I think it's either Cassandre Aatrox, and Myrwn's tossing that up right now. Gnar!
Oh, so
Straight
giving
standard.
last pick for Gnar?
Yeah, I think
Lacking
that's...
ambition here, I feel.
That's typical. I've just never really seen Mrywn on the champion too much. I feel like this is a guy who cooks up more things and doesn't really play meta matchups very often, but he's showing us his Gnar.
I mean, it is stable, but is it what you want to see from Mad Lions guy in a potential last game, or do you think this is the draft that allows them to come back?
I mean, it's definitely not what I expected from MDK in terms of their rotation. They go into what the rest of the league has really been doing right now, which is a lot of scaling, and not too much early game productivity, while the pairing of Nautilus and Sejuani is still very dangerous because of how fast you can stack up the Sejuani with all the CC as well coming out of the auto attacks. Still need to find the avenue for that. So I'm curious to see how they're going to link up. I still think it's a fine composition in general, but the space the GIANTX can buy with a Seer, with a Jinx, like if they pop off, it's kind of easy to navigate.
GIANTX in the driver's seat here in this series, 1-0 so far against MDK. MDK last time made the miracle run, coming back and leading to finals against G2. Can they do it again? We'll see. Right now, Casters, over to you.
Thank you, Laure. Wake up, everybody. It's time. Game 2. Laure did just drop the hardest line I've ever heard an analyst say, which she described a pick as lacking ambition. So shout out to her for that. That cut deep. But we'll see if it was the right choice for MDK and for Mrywn. They try to bring this series back. And it might have been lacking ambition, but it is hella cute. Look at that chroma. Little pink little astronaut.
Still, though, I have to agree with Laure. I am the biggest fan of the MDK draft.
Well, and this is like, Mrywn is like the weird
The
pick
counterpick
top
guy,
lane
yeah.
guy, and I feel like in normal, hi, we're here. I didn't know we were going to be on camera. I'm Drakos, that's Dagda. Myrwn's the counterpick guy, and I think a lot of the times he looks most comfortable when he's kind of putting his opponent on the back foot from picks in bans. Odoamme's played Renekton Gnar for 8 years, you know? Matchup has not changed a lot.
I was about to correct you that Gnar's been out for 8 years, and then I was like, oh god, he has, hasn't he? I've been playing this game for too long.
Come face to face with your age, Dagda.
Never. No one knows my age and everyone thinks I'm younger, so I will take that to the grave, which is sooner than everyone thinks. But
Which, honestly, Dagda, you look, you look great for 25, dude. You're great.
Thanks, man. Yeah. But look, I want to see stronger mid jungle. Honestly, for MDK, Fresskowy feels like he's going back to comfort versus fitting into something that can help with the Sejuani, because I think even if you get the jump onto Jackie's, you don't have the damage to finish him off before he just slides his way out of it. And it just kind of lacks ambition, right? So, Ignar!
Ignar, that was a bit ambitious. Walks into the brush without perfect information. He's going to lose a lot of his health. Luckily, he has the Guardian. Looks like the Gleaming Quill as well. So we'll mitigate some of the upfront damage. But Alvaro and Supa off to a positive early health trade.
Yeah, Ignar needs to be careful. Alvaro, took the W actually level 1 to try and get the better trade. So won't have any hook problems and we'll just be able to heal up. So yeah, you'll be fine here. And actually going to have the bigger wave coming through as well. So should be able to get the level 1 push too. So happy days for Ignar and Patrik still in the spot side. And we'll be trying to track where the junglers are going because it does look like they'll be going to opposite sides, but I don't think you're really going to have too much of an impact here in the early stages on either side.
See if Alvaro and Supa respect the level 2 engage here. Alvaro did just proc Aftershock moments ago, so a small window. Patrik and Ignar hit level 2 first, as they have here, to capitalize, but Supa and Alvaro giving it the respect. They will back away in the bottom lane as we take a look at the early jungle pathing. Nice bit of vision laid down by Fresskowy. Doesn't look like it spotted Peach, but gives them at least partial information.
I think it will spot at least that the camp is gone,
Yeah.
so you still get the same information. So Peach going to make his way top, Elyoya boss. Across the board, no real surprises when it comes towards like who has push or anything like that. Patrik going to get an early reset in here, which is really, really nice for him. Will maybe go for the cull. I wouldn't be surprised to see it because it just means you can go and farm and then look for the roams for Ignar, but not going to be the case. I think it is a little bit difficult when Alvaro has the... Alvaro can play hyper aggressive, especially at level 6. Trying to find those moments where you can play safe here, as Patrik to just farm it out can be a bit tough.
Yeah, and it's not one of the matchups that we've seen previously, like the Xayah versus the Zeri. The Jinx is much more vulnerable if left in complete isolation, so Ignar does have to be a bit more aware about those roam timings. It is not going to be the cold though, the longsword, just an extra pot and a control ward. Stack can be donated over. Supa will get the reset. Match buys here, but gets the boots, which is certainly going to help out a lot in the matchup.
Oh, is there a triple threat going mid though? Alvaro walking from bot lane is immediately pinged out by GIANTX, but we'll give a little bit of pressure towards Jackie's in the mid lane. Peach gonna just spot out that the entire top side is taken, so we'll make the assumption Elyoya is on that bottom half of the map, especially with the ward that has been placed deep in the enemy jungle as well. So across the board, again, I think it's gonna be a slow-paced early stages. You don't really have that burst potential. We talked about a mid to deal with Jackie's. Odo's gonna be in a fine spot on that top side. It's a fairly stable matchup. Although, one of the things we do see a lot of pros talk about it specifically is Mrywn, is that because he plays a lot of these weird picks, some of his more traditional matchups can be a little bit weaker. So at the moment, Odo getting some decent trades in that top matchup and isn't losing things like turret plating or even out on the push in a lot of these.
You expect it to get a little bit easier for Mrywn after first back. Usually, you know, boots 2 rush for the Gnar in lane. Makes a lot of the trades just so much easier. And Renekton, of course, just incredibly auto-attack reliant. So in early tabbies can do a lot of work. But for now, 4 items come through. Odoamme getting the better. Fury stack as well. Mrywn does have to give that respect over, but opted for the fleet for work. Knows that he just needs that extra bit of sustain. It's Fresskowy.
Wait a sec.
Gonna use his mid push.
Odo?
Get out. Odo. Mrywn in an awkward spot. Odo wants to double dash to the wave, but instead will just be happy to pick this one up.
Yeah, he wanted to try and slice and dice, but you can't really do it because you'd end up burning the Fury stacks on the slice and dice. Cover the distance, so wouldn't have a lot of the damage when you got to the far side, so decides to back it on up anyway. But nice job to at least zone Mrywn off the wave, so he gets the XP and gold advantage. Mrywn will have to burn his TP to get back to lane. Whereas I'm not sure, maybe Odo just wants to walk back to lane. Could opt in for the early boots to match Gnar in this situation, but going to go for the pickaxe and boots instead, so more than likely TP back up, especially as Peach is starting off on the Void Grubs.
Nice movement from Peach thus far as well. Both sides really diligent in laying down vision control to track the enemy jungler. Control ward here, they have spotted Peach. Doesn't mean Elyoya can just put that control ward down to make sure no one is waiting over the wall. And start the dragon spotlight. Trade some blows back and forth. Again, for Peach to the Maokai comfort. Rel by far his best champion, but MDK, after that first game, we're not going to give it to him again. Now a trade of tank junglers. MDK no longer reliant on Elyoya getting a lot done early. Will have that evergreen value of a Sejuani in the jungle.
Restarted for Patrik in that bot side. Might be looking to say, hey, look, Elyoya, you're going to take Dragon. You're going to reset. You're going to go back up into your top side as a spawns as Odo, because he's got the all-in here.
Butsu from Mrywn, though, and a better ulti cooldown. That's a good trade. Supa going over the wall. Ignar taking a ton of damage. Elyoya waiting in the darkness. Not sure if it's part of the ward. Fresskowy hears the Ahri. Ignar needs to back away, but as does Patrik. Luckily, he has the flash and the cleanse. Elyoya getting caught out here, but again, the upfront damage not quite there, except for the Ignite for Ignar provides enough threat that Elyoya is forced to flash away. And the play kind of fizzles.
Patrik was able to clear out the wave. There was only the 2 ranged creeps that were still there underneath the tower. Odo needs to be careful here, though. No flash.
Moving back in, wants to heal, wants to dash through. First blood!
The auto spacing goes wild. Mrywn just ends up walking that bit too far forward, and Odo able to clip him with the increased attack range that his W has. That's so unfortunate for Mrywn. Nearly able to get that kill.
I mean, the first trade was so good for him. If he just slowed down a little bit, you know, that could have been his kill, or at least very least an advantage, but instead, gambles on getting more, gambles on getting the kill, gives up his life.
Yeah, and Odo, I mean, as Mrywn goes in here, Odo flashing forward to get the stun, ton of damage down. And Mrywn then, I'm assuming Odo will have the slicing dice here, so Mrywn has to flash away from it because Odo hasn't used it just there. Yeah, there it is. Flashes away, and then starts to chase him down. But because the hyper proc ends up just being too quick, walks that little bit too far forward, and then just able to barely clip him with the heel off the back of it. Nicely done by Odo.
Oh my God, thumbs up, stare off into the distance, knuckle crack.
The eye roll. God damn, man.
Okay, that's a different kind of reaction. I've seen a lot
he's
of
been
laugh.
playing this matchup for 8 years. He's already got a ton of stuff.
Does he take it as a personal offense when someone locks in Gnar into his Renekton? That looked like it was personal. All right.
Yeah.
That was new. Usually we just show the laughter or like Swiffer getting mad. I've never seen someone just look so hard. Odo looks like he just beat some guy in a street fight.
And it was like, why did you even try? It's like,
All right.
that was, I'm sorry. I'm like, God.
All right, here we are. Well, Odoamme has built himself a bit of a
We're showing
lead.
it again?
We're showing it again. One more time, Odo face. Okay, so while we were excited about Odo face, something apparently happened in the bottom lane. Elyoya set up beautifully. Quick bit of CC here. We'll just kill Ignar. And yep, that's the replay. Good pick on bot lane for MDK. Well, how did they react? Were they also ruthlessly stone cold? Okay, no. All right.
No words exchanged at all, just stone face. But yeah, a nice pick. Supa and Alvaro now going to get some plates on the bottom side, so definitely helping out massively and getting a good lead for Supa. Curious if he's actually able to, or he should be able to pick up his static ship fairly quickly now and try and play for a second dragon off that win as well. So at least giving some control to MDK on this bottom side of the map when it comes to trying to execute towards those objectives. If you're looking at Elyoya and Fresskowy, I think it's just a secure push for Fresskowy here versus actually all in, because they don't know where Ignar is, who's about to show.
Peach waiting. Might have the angle for the ulti, but you really got to respect the Mega Gnar. Wave clear the wall up, plus the boulder toss. Just deletes the wave. GX priority on top side, hoping to catch out Elyoya. Sapling spots Mrywn. Got good info. Elyoya is going to clear that bit of vision, so GX just going to play for the next wave.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be a trade-off positioning here. GX rotate to try and get the 6 void grubs for themselves, whereas MDK going to try and put pressure in mid lane. Do I imagine lean boss with Fresskowy having the push there, but maybe even trying to contest here. Fresskowy is on bot lane and has no TP, so it will be just the 4v4.
And when you look at a lot of the burst potential of this MDK trio of jungle support and AD, they can delete someone very, very quickly. Rakan, obviously, a lot of CC potential, and with the Ignite, a bit of extra damage, but much more vulnerable, much more squishy. Nice start to the fight! Jackie's caught asleep at the wheel. Was not ready for the sheer quantity of CC just thrown at him, and now MDK walk up. Gonna at least deny, or hope to deny, 5 and 6 here in terms of the grub buff, but the rest of GX now coming down, knowing that there are no ultis, that there are no cooldowns available for MDK.
Mrywn's so close to going Mega Gnar though, so this is risky. GIANTX.
On the Peach. Patrik lays down the Flame Chompers. Mrywn on the way in. No flash from the earlier play. Still leaps up. Nice CC from Ignar to stop Mrywn from finding the follow-up. Supa goes over the wall. He's going to need... Supa very confident. That's what I will say about the series thus far. Excellent charm for Fresskowy. Oh! Where's the Fresskowy cam?
I think GIANTX need to start to look back at themselves and go, hey, is this really the way we want to be playing? We have overextended on the mid wave with Jackie's, where he should not have got hit by that hook. You need to play way more defensive, because you know MDK are hovering around that mid lane. Then they overextended the play to, well, I mean, actually, wait, they're just going to get the 5 grubs, actually. I was going to say, I think you can, as MDK, pick up the extra grubs here with the numbers advantage, and Mrywn hitting his ultimates. And then on bot side, Odo just taking that step too far forward. So very weird passage of play from GIANTX that gave a substantial amount of gold to MDK, but might be biting them back now.
Has just evened out the gold. I think crucially for the side of GX, now that they have 5 grub buff, I mean, this Jinx can just never be left alone. She's going to shred through these towers so quickly, and Patrik hasn't even bought yet. We'll have a lot of money sitting in his back pocket. Supa, of course, though, still power farming. 1.1k gold lead overall, those 2 kills. Really paying off for some of that bot lane focus from the side of MDK. Now they will grab a dragon, stop, or continue, rather, their dragon stacking and moving on to Mountain Soul. Something that could help a lot with the tankier members of their team, Alvaro and Elyoya especially.
I imagine we'll have Jinx and Rakan move back down to this bottom side of the map to try and put pressure now as the on the last third. I think Odo would just catch this wave, but they're actually going to swap into mid lane. I think there is a moment here where you could have tried to move them into bot side, get the tower as people are coming off of reset. Especially because you know Supa has just pushed mid dragon into bot side. Sorry, won't be able to get back to bot side, we'll have to reset. So I thought maybe Patrik and Ignar want to make a play on it, but instead they're just going to back away. Look for a push on mid instead. Don't quite have the static shiv match that we're talking about because Supa got those early kills and the early plates as well. And then Fresskowy showing mid with Alvaro.
Dash forward, make sure the minion wave is gone. Cleanse from Patrik. Well timed. Alvaro not going to hit the follow-up hook. But get that summoner spell. Fresskowy have ult again before that cleanse is back up and available. Ignar again forced to back off. Fresskowy being ahead.
Jackie's needs to leave. There's so many people here.
This is hard. I feel like Jackie's is such a good individual playmaker when he has the agency to do so, but you're just not going to be able to match the Ahri for most stages of this game. Odoamme, he is the individual on the side of GX with the gold. The gold dead even outside of the 5 grubs versus the 2 drakes. Alvaro looks like he might have stepped too far, but will walk away just fine. But I think there's pressure on Odoamme to leverage his advantage because right now Supa is the member ahead on the side of MDK, and Zeri in general just going to be a significantly more impactful champion to have that gold lead on than the Renekton.
MDK moving up into river to try and pressure off of this top side. So then Jackie's has to back away. So as you say, the fact that you're able to play off of Supa with this lead so effectively makes it kind of easy here for MDK to continue this pressure. Patrik doesn't know where MDK are. Well, I suppose put him on the ward, but means that he has to play very defensive. And it opens up Supa to get another turret plate just before we hit the 14-minute mark. And Supa's massive. And as long as he doesn't end up doing anything untoward, should be fine. But MDK got to catch Jackie's.
Fresskowy dashing in. Jackie's pitches for the pushback, but doesn't find it. Alvaro hovering around. Fresskowy hits him with the OK, and that's one very dead Azir. Alvaro happy to pick up that kill. Odoamme wants to go into the bottom side. Mrywn about to turn Mega. Almost sidesteps the wallet from Odoamme. Forced to ulti in that brief window of opportunity to ensure that he does not go down. But Mrywn, happy with that trade, just leaps out. Peach now on the chase. Will be spotted on the ward, and MDK can walk away happy knowing that they're getting the Herald on the top side.
The wheels are starting to come off for GIANTX. The early game looked good, but MDK find picks, finding plays off of Supa. This is where they hit their comfort zone of, hey, we can move Supa around the map. Alvaro and Elyoya, that engine, getting involved in that top side. Now you've got top turret basically dead. Fresskowy does reset, but it's on its last legs. And you can now play for pressure mid, finish those off, and use a Rift Shroud on a tier 2 with Dragon in 2 minutes. That's such a massive threat on the map that GIANTX have to try and deal with.
Certainly will. The fact that it essentially feels like we have a guaranteed third Drake for MDK with this advantage is huge for the game going forward. That's just going to be Celestial opposition pop. There's no immediate follow-up there. But again, from a game where GIANTX looked almost infallible to a game where MDK are outclassing them in a lot of these exchanges. Really only that fumble topside from Mrywn that has looked in favor of GX thus far.
And a lot of it has been, hey, we don't have the control of mid-jungle to go for a 2v2, but we can definitely use the push from Fresskowy to lean into this bottom side and then get the pressure for Supa and Alvaro. And catching Ignar and Patrik with their pants down a couple of times. Peach also not being in a position to cover for his lanes in many situations, but Ignar is.
Odoamme there. Ruthless Predator, flash out from Mrywn. Solid play. Spend a little bit of Ignar's time. It does mean in the meantime that they are conceding top lane tower because they are got Jackie's on the weak side of the map, but that's no flash for Mrywn. Maybe it lets Odoamme push his advantage.
I think it's also to just go, hey, top is gone. Let's cross map and get something. And I think playing for a flash is an objective, especially if it's an Gnar, but you now need to cover for the rest of the top lane. And Peach isn't there.
I mean, 40 seconds until Drake spawns. An immediate reset here from MDK might get them to the objective in time without vision set up. We'll see what the call is. Felt like they might have prioritized or backed off there to instead prioritize going for the Drake.
This is great from Odo. He immediately covers across. Actually, he's going to reset, which I'm not so sure on, but had push in bot, immediately rotated across in towards bot side jungle, so they could guarantee the keep of pressure on the vision control they'd already established. Now you're getting the TP in from Jackie's. They're going to try and burst this down, but I think Odo may be a little bit late, unless GIANTX are going to try and catch someone as they enter here, which looks like the plan.
Yeah, Odo backing for double Ruby Crystal does not feel great. GX. All right, they slowed it down enough that they can get the full 5-man stack. MDK did not have perfect information. They did not feel confident to step forward there. Could have been disastrous if they did for the side of GX. Peach trying to keep that vision going. Mrywn about to hit Mega. Once that fades away, it'll be a brief window where GX can really just step up. 15 seconds till you can start stacking Rage again after you turn Mini.
Fresskowy has bot side pressure though, and that's where you now got to pull Odoamme across. He's caught. That's why you see Supa going aggressive here with Mrywn, trying to keep Odo interested as that wave dies. The bot tower.
Fishing for Alvaro. Hook lands. Alvaro flashing out. Celestial opposition for a bit of extra slow, but they're going to be going under the tower of MDK to try to make this happen. Now Supa comes in over the wall. Ultra Shock Laser connects onto Peach. Bit of a slow. Hook again, landing onto Odoamme. Rocket from the Jinx is big. Nice stun onto the Renekton to stop the follow-up to keep Alvaro standing. Fresskowy off to the side, causing so much havoc. Lightning crash from Supa. He sees his opportunity. He knows he has to keep going. One kill will reset for Fresskowy. We'll give Supa more, but they've just pushed GX back. The Dragon should now be theirs.
MDK played off of mid and bot so well. Fresskowy enters into bot knowing, look, I can dash into these fights. I have a position here where I get a good flank. Cool, let me draw Odo down to that bot side. And once GIANTX are split up, yes, they turn into Alvaro, but Celestial opposition, having the Merc threads and the Lock of the Iron Solari, he wasn't going to go down easy, even having the Aftershock as well. So a lot invested to take him out. And MDK turn on the rest of GIANTX.
Difficult now. You can see they need a bit of time with the Jinx Azir to really do the damage. They can't immediately find these picks the way they could in the previous game with the Silas. Yes, Odoamme still has that lead. Closer and closer to a second item, but it just doesn't feel like it matters very much in the context of these fights. It's so hard for him to get past a Sejuani and a Nautilus. If he has a flank, if they have the vision set up or flanking wards in future fights, he can finally just find his way onto that back line. But in the meantime, hasn't been able to make it happen. Tower will be picked up, slowly evens up the goal, but still about a 3K advantage for MDK on top of the 3 Drakes. This is going to be tough.
Also, I was a big doubter of this Ahri for Fresskowy, but honestly, he's been playing these team fights exceptionally. Catching Patrik with that charm, bursting him out, ulting backwards to get Peach completely drawn out of position. That was exceptional play from Fresskowy, and you can kind of see, look, sometimes comfort is all you need when you're able to play as well as Fresskowy has been. So GIANTX now firmly, as you say, on the back foot. Baron is going to spawn now as we just crossed over the 20-minute mark, but I think it's just a case of MDK. Play off of mid-wave, make sure that you're getting the vision down, wait for these next few minutes, and just get a Mountain Soul for yourself.
I mean, we've seen Hook going in. Hold that thought as Odoamme. We'll just back away here. It'll be totally fine as MDK try to establish more control on the top side of the map. 22 seconds until Baron spawns. Not the fastest Baron, probably won't start that one. But instead, happy to just continue to push up on the side lane. Maybe catch GX out if Jackie's does overextend.
But you're getting a lot of control. MDK just... Ooh, hang on.
Again, Hook, Elyoya, passive starting to fade away. Peach getting lower and lower, but keep your eyes on Fresskowy on the side. Dash over the wall, looking to lead the jungler. Peach goes back in. Lock up there, but the healing for Peach is not nearly enough. Down goes Patrik, and Fresskowy making these plays happen on the flank.
And there was no need for GIANTX to commit that far up. They had the push in mid for MDK. Supa in a great position to get a ton of AoE damage off from that corridor. And Jackie's was pushing bot. The call from GIANTX was get Jackie's resources, get him to pressure on the map. But now with the kills, MDK will net Baron.
And I feel like we're going to a game 3. Going to be more than a 6K gold lead after this. You feel like this leads into them getting Soul, unless they risk a 50-50, and we check out this play one more time.
And watch Supa, great position here. The ult hits multiple people, the AoE is going nuts, but he also has position on Supa, onto Patrik here. Ult from Alvaro, straight onto Patrik, helps Supa pick him off. And there's just very little that you can really do here as GIANTX. You're 2,500 gold before that fight kicks off. Difference in the AD carry position. Now it's at 3.2k. Supa's just firing on all cylinders, and Patrik's kind of just throwing softballs at them.
I mean, he doesn't do damage to Elyoya or Alvaro in these exchanges. Of course, with enough time, you saw that he started to hurt. But if your Jinx isn't killing tanks in 4 or 5 autos, you're not going to win that fight when Supa is shredding through your team. When Fresskowy is finding these incredible flanks, and MDK, I think you highlighted it so well earlier. Comfort picks for these rookie mid laners feel like everything. Like, look at the difference in Jackie's output when he's playing something he's comfortable on. Not that Fresskowy can't play Azir, not that Jackie's can't play Azir. But even in our previous game, you know, for Spyro, control majors are what he's known for. This is Azir, that immaculate performance. It feels like in game 1, Jackie's on the Silas, that's comfort for him. You know, those melee champions, really the difference maker in so many fights, and now it's Fresskowy, backed by his team, of course, who's popping off in this game. Flash over from Alvaro. This is the bloodthirstiness we know from MDK. They're not going to let you stand under that tower. It looks like MDK just want to go straight for the throat, want to go for the win.
What are you going to do, Jackies? You got the reset, finish the wave. MDK get 2 towers and 2 inhibitors off the back of that play. And now your base is just in tatters.
They want
How far forward they want to go?
MDK, will they back away? They're pushed back. You can see they're thinking about it. And that's why, I mean, that's one of the reasons you gotta love this team. They're always ready to 5v5.
And now they get to reset with great timing for Dragon. 50 seconds until Mountain Soul is available for MDK. Some vision control placing that bot side as they exit out of the bottom half of the map, but for GIANTX, I just don't see yourself getting vision that really lets yourself figure out, hey, where's Fresskowy coming from? Do we have to worry about Elyoya? Where's Alvaro coming from? Can he get position on Patrik? Because the dive from Fresskowy and how much damage Supa's doing with his AoE is just going to rinse Patrik in these fights.
Yeah, it's so hard for Patrik to play. There's so much threat, and he just can't. I mean, we just go back, we go to front to back. Remember, it's whatever AD kills frontline first, and right now, that's Supa. Supa kills frontline much, much faster. Of course, reminder, the lower bracket round 2, April 6th, Fnatic versus Team Heretics after their triumph today over SK. We'll see what the other matchup is following this particular series. Who will face Vitality?
Mrywn going to push in mid lane as the rest of MDK establish themselves on the top side. Dragon isn't even in their sights. They're just like, cool, let's try and use the last little moments that this Baron is available. As Odo going to have to be a little bit careful. They tried to get a lot of investment on Jackies, who did complete his second item, but doesn't have that Crypt Bloom available to him just yet. So still would love to be able to reset and try and pick that up, but you're just not going to get that moment with the amount of pressure MDK have on the map right now.
There's almost no MR on the side of MDK. There is a world where Jackies can take over in a fight. Negatron Cloak coming in for Elyoya. Bits and pieces via the locket itemization, but very little else. A lot more armor focus, trying to make sure that Patrik can't take over. MDK, now that Baron is gone, can just shift back to the Drake. I like that they don't use any of their Baron to go for something like the Dragon. Want to empower those minions. But they need to be careful here. They're risking a lot by lingering in the base for so long.
Alvaro.
Hook connects onto Peach. Ignar looking for the counter, waiting for Supa to step too far forward. Dashes back out. That's the lightning crash. Odoamme trying to get back under the tower. Gnar back into the wall, but it doesn't quite connect. Odoamme now retreating. Supa's going to finish the call. Kill now unstoppable. Fresskowy dashing forward. He's got one more charge. Patrik in trouble. Nowhere left to run. Needs to retreat back to the base. Needs to heal up, but MDK so determined to end this. Don't want to wait for the power of Soul.
Jackies is trying to clear out the wave. MDK, they got what they came for. Nexus tower down. Top still stands. Dragon is there. Ignar trying to make sure they can't get the reset off, because Odo can TP in, so as long as they prevent these resets, they can actually steal away the Dragon and stop MDK from being able to get Soul. Ignar playing very far forward. He has to try and face check this to get the vision that they need for the Dragon.
Desperation times for GX. Have to make risky plays.
They can't get their carries out. It's going to be the attempt to snipe. Fresskowy
nice
blocks. And that's Soul.
Yeah, well highlighted, observers. Mrywn now going in, the pushback there. Peach gonna get taken down. Mountain Soul there for MDK. This should just be it. They've got Supers in the bottom lane. Supa's still there. Supa incredibly powerful. 3.5 items. Wave being ushered in mid by Alvaro.
You just don't have the damage. Crypt Bloom now there for Jackies. You don't have a front line.
TP.
Patrik has nothing in the tank, and one tower holds back MDK.
One extra fake tower courtesy of Jackies. Doing what they can to clear the waves. They do have powerful wave clear. They just cannot afford to get engaged on. Mrywn slowly stacking the rage. Has flash. That feels like it'll be it, but Elyoya's all going wide as the start for GX. MDK. You know, a little Timo yawn from Mrywn, but at the same time, I think it's tough for them to immediately close this game out without catching another mistake from GX.
20 seconds onto Baron though. GX trying to do the same thing of chase down MDK. Death Brush? Maybe here though.
They delete Baron. Patrik! Caught! What are you doing? It was so bold. Baron wasn't up yet. They had time. They had a window. They could have waited. They didn't need to make the play, but they tried. MDK more than happy to punish. Instant triple kill. Easy finish. Odo talking to the team, talking about it, laughs on their faces. They felt like that one was over already, but it's going to be the win. Game 3 between MDK and GX lies ahead. One to move forward, one to be sent home. 10 weeks till the start of summer.
You can see the stress on Supa's face there though. Very clean game, but it's still a game 3 yet to go, and it felt like both these games very one-sided on either side, but we'll have to see exactly what we're going to get in game 3 just after the break.